I see people that die in corporate America and they get replaced within a week. Your work is not your life. Purpose is your life, but your 9 to 5 is not your life. I wash their feet to show that I'm not greater than you. If you really want to be great, I got to be your servant.
Welcome back to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. We are in the final episode with Mr. Ja'Quan Lavender. It's been an incredible journey. So Ja'Quan, as we close the series, what are you building and will it stand when you're no longer in the room? Ja'Quan, you're young, you're building fast, but you're already thinking about legacy. So what does that look like for you?
What I'm building is something my son, my daughter can have. Because eventually I gotta pass the mantle as time goes on. But this is something that they can stand on. This is something they don't have to get a 9 to 5. I'm building that legacy for them right now. So they continue to go out and do the same work that I'm doing, but on a greater height. But the ultimate goal is to help these young men and young women find their purpose in life.
Yeah.
So through this program, I'm sure it's a good bit of young men and young women that can say, I actually found myself through this program. Because you hear a lot of testimonies, the same testimonies. This program changed my life, and they'll go in detail on how it changed their life.
So, Ja'Quan, we're talking about legacy. And in the first segment, you talked about your mom. What does mom have to say today?
Proud of me. But I seen them when I was a young kid, entrepreneurs. My mom and dad, they was always hustling and selling purses, selling reeves, just different things, just always doing something to take that step higher. I seen it at a young age. It was bound to happen, but I didn't know it's going to be this early on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So if you don't mind, share with us a little something about your dad. I'm always really fascinated about how young men feel about their dad and the relationship with their dad. And the reason that it is important to me, at 15, I lost my dad. So I tend to live through guys like you who still have their dad and who can share those stories as your dad see you grow from, an adolescent to a teenager, to a young adult, to a father, to an entrepreneur, all those steps. So just share a little bit about, just how he sees where you are right now.
My dad's very chill. He don't say much, always watching. I got that same quality, but you can tell when somebody's proud of you just by their actions. Just always wanting to be there for you. He may not say much, but I think the biggest sincerity is, dude, your actions speaks louder than words. So if he never say much, I know I'm on a good track. The more he may say much, then I'm probably doing the wrong thing. But he didn't have to say much to me. When I was coming up, I may have been a knucklehead, that's simple. Other than that, I know he's proud of me.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah. So as let's talk a little bit about scaling, right? So you're operating 2 national organizations, the Foundation of the Prudent Man, the Leadership Academy. Most people struggle to scale just one thing. What is the leadership discipline that allows you to build at scale without losing the quality of your work?
Patience. Patience.
That's good.
I was getting antsy before, emailing 200 schools maybe in a week. Just email. I gotta get this program out there. I don't, because if I'm being patient and having faith, God gonna lead me to the right schools. And the more I scale back, the more He took a step for me and got me in the right schools.
Yeah.
And then it led to me at the right time to reach out to people. Now the Prudent Man is international. It's in Nigeria.
Wow.
It's in Nigeria. So we have a leadership summit there where we have 50 young men that I teach in Nigeria.
Wow.
That is awesome, man.
That's incredible, man.
That is awesome. So how did that actually come about?
Well, God is crazy. I don't know how He be doing it, but it would just drop in me. So whenever something just drop in me, when I'm done praying, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I searched organizations that do this similar work that I do, and I end up finding these organizations. So I reached out to them. had meetings with them. At first, I was skeptical. So I took a step back, like, I don't know about this. But as I began to do my research, this organization, Naaza Agapi Foundation, they are a big organization in Nigeria. So we collabed together. We did multiple work together. And she's, of course, down there. So she will oversee the leadership program, but I would teach these young men, and she's in charge of getting the young people and bringing them to the summit.
That's awesome.
Amazing. That
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. You know, you've talked about creating this ripple effect where today's participants become tomorrow's mentors. How are you building that into the structure of what you do specifically as it pertains to creating a legacy?
I would say the biggest ripple effect that I'm creating is a chain effect of character, men of integrity.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes in my program, even those that work with me, they're going to know that one thing the Prudent man is going to teach you about is finding your purpose, character, integrity, and how to carry yourself as a prudent man, but most importantly, as a godly man. So we bring these qualities to light because when I'm done and gone, they got to be able to do it without Mr. Lavender. And then when they are coming up and those are coming underneath them, they got to be able to do the same effect. So it's got to be that same chain going. So I call it if I can say this, the prudent man ripple effect. That's the ripple effect the prudent man will give you.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Me too.
that.
That translates into the corporate world. And what I was in the military, I was in the Navy. And in the Navy, what you do is you get a duty station. And in that duty station, you may be there for 2 years, you may be there for 4 years. And you have a specific job that you need to do while you're there. I kind of look at that as the same as our jobs that we have today, right? You know, typically these days, you know, you don't stay at one job forever. You have a role that you play while you're there. Well, while you're there, there's a responsibility to build and to lead, you know, and to influence others. You don't necessarily have to be in a title, right? But you're going to be interacting with people that you're meant to connect with. And, you know, being able to build something that outlasts you. And so that when you leave, you know, the things that you taught, the impact that you made, it stays even after you're gone, right? That's a higher form of purpose in living than just, you know, existing to go get a paycheck, right? You know, so I love that, man. That is fantastic.
So one of the things I love about that is, and Ja'Quan, I'm sure you're going to really have something to say on this too, in terms of the culture that you're really building is a kingdom culture. So when you hear that, what does that mean for you in terms of the impact, in terms of the, you know, the longevity of it? Like, you know, because Christ really came here to build a kingdom culture. How do you see what you're doing with your foundation contributing to that kingdom culture?
The first thing that came to mind was responsibility and just being a kingdom ambassador. What I'm doing is kingdom work, of course, because I'm taking myself out of it and being a servant as Jesus taught. You know, as I take you through a story, it was a Christian school that I had at Canton, Ohio. And, you know, as we were coming to a close, I was teaching them about how Jesus washed the disciples' feet. Now, how can the master do that for his disciples? They said that only a slave would do that because when people come off the road to come to eat, that was something slaves would do to wash their feet, that they would be clean. So I did that as our graduation ceremony. I washed their feet to show that I'm not greater than you. I'm your servant. Like I'm serving you. What I'm offering you as this service, as me teaching you, I'm your servant. I'm teaching you something because the principle I wanted them to see was being displayed when Jesus said, if anyone want to be great among you, let him be your servant first. So I displayed that Bible verse in action. So when they read that verse, they can say, Mr. Lavender actually brought it to light.
Yeah.
If you really want to be great, I got to be your servant.
What I'm hearing is that leadership is not about telling people what to do, about where to go. I'm in charge. I'm the dude. You gotta go grab my bags. But it's like, no, let me get your bag.
That we got a responsibility. God said to Adam, tend to the garden and keep it. I got to cultivate my garden. My garden is my purpose, building these young men and men to Prudent man. When I have a family, I got to tend to them, tend to my wife, my children. Right. That's my responsibility. That's my garden I got to cultivate. So if I'm not cultivating, what am I doing?
That's it. That's it. Woo, that's so powerful. Ja'Quan, if you had to define your life's work in one word, what would it be?
If I could define my life work in one word.
Word or phrase, word or phrase, word or phrase.
I would just say purpose. I just feel like that word is, when you think about purpose, you just think about what I'm called to do, what I'm called to do on earth. You know, I think purpose is all around just the word that every man should know. Because it's what you were predestined to do before you even thought of.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. Because again, right? What's the seed has everything contained in it needs to do what? To grow. It has everything in it needs. So what you're saying is when God thought of you, he put it all inside of you. It was in there. But again, your journey, right? All the things that you've gone through has allowed that seed to germinate. It allowed it to crack the soil. It allowed it to now started to sprout. But all that pressure, right? The pressure was needed in order for the seed to blossom and to do what it needed to do.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's it. As you get a little, down the road like Terry and I are, you start to thank God for the pressure. You don't feel that way in the moment, but when you can look back over your life and you say, man, God, I see how you was working there. How you used that to propel me, to move me, those types of things. That's real. That is real life right there. Man, that is fantastic, man. So what do you want young women and men who go through your program to say about how it changed them? Like what are the things that you're looking to hear?
I'm looking to hear, of course, number one, it helped me find my purpose. Number two, I want to hear that they're not the same young man or young woman they were a year ago. I want to hear them not speak with profanity. They're not sagging their pants. These young ladies are dressed in modest, not with tight clothes to get these young men to lust after them. I don't want that. Again, when I think about a prudent man and prudent woman, I think of excellence. So everything that we do is with the standard of excellence. So once they have an excellent mindset, they'll be able to do everything with excellence.
This is not a simple, buying somebody lunch. You are changing generations. Because you think about that. If you help impact one young lady or one young man and they change their lives when they get married and they have kids, they're going to be teaching their kids what you taught. Right.
Correct.
And everybody is not fortunate enough to come up in church or come up in a household where they may have loving parents. So you may be the only voice, that they hear that moves them in that direction. So what you're doing is powerful and is needed. So I just want to personally thank you for what you're putting into the world and how you change your lives. Because this is incredible, man. This is definitely incredible.
Thank you.
It is. It has been a pleasure meeting you today and just having this dialogue, man. You've inspired me. Man, look, when you're doing the things that we're doing, leading families, starting organizations, encouraging people, every single day, you got to get in the blocks.
See?
Every day. And leaders, you're leading your teams, you're leading families. Every single day you show up in the office, every single day you show up in your home office, somebody needs what you have. And again, if you're not ready that day, it's okay. There's two things impacted my life. Getting on the line. Don't get on unless you're ready. The other thing is, I'm still chewing on this. The rest is more important than the work. That's heavy, man.
It is.
That's heavy. That is heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's heavy.
Like today, I'm not working. I'm about to go get a manicure. I'm about to self-care. I'm about to
yes, sir.
Clean the house. I'm about to go wash my car. Watch some videos about what I do for a living. Just things like that. That's my downtime. I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want nobody coming over here. I need to enjoy my peace.
Yeah.
Yes, man. God bless you, man. You are a blessing, bro. You are a blessing. I'm gonna find you on all your social stuff. I'm gonna find you, and I will be following and connecting you with people that I know who will benefit from these services that you bring. So, man, you've been a blessing to me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So over these 4 conversations, you've taken us from the track to the foundation, from the philosophy to the method, and now the legacy. What's the final word you want to leave with every executive, entrepreneur, and emerging leader listening to this series?
Okay, I would say prudence. Prudence is attainable. If you want to be a prudent man or prudent woman, start small. Reflection. Reflect. Like I said, the mirror will never lie, your character will never lie. So your character is the representation of your heart. So take a look at your heart. Rest, please rest, because the work is always going to be there. I see people that die in corporate America and they get replaced within a week. So the work is always going to be there, and just enjoy life. Your work is not your life. Purpose is your life, but your 9 to 5 is not your life. That's two different things. So when you find your purpose, you're going to be happy. But even then, Jesus had to take himself back and restrain himself, wake up early, and had a solitude place to pray. Yeah. So even though he knew his purpose, he still rests. So find your why, take a break from work, even if it's just a mental health day, and just continue to be in you.
So good. So good. So good.
Yes, sir.
Ja'Quan, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. You and the Leadership Sovereignty family now.
Hey. You beyond the grasshopper.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If today's conversation added value, I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Number 2, leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It only takes 60 seconds, but it really helps more leaders find the show. And number 3, share this episode with someone who's on the rise in their career. Don't forget to connect with us on LinkedIn and visit leadershipsovereignty.com for show notes and the full episode back catalog. Until the next time, continue to lead boldly, lead with purpose, and walk in sovereignty. Take care.